The Caldari diplomatic vessel gleamed like polished obsidian against Earth's atmosphere, its crystalline structure catching sunlight in ways that made it seem almost alive. Admiral Sarah Chen watched the approaching ship from her office in the Lunar Command Center, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the telemetry data scrolling across her holographic display. Something about this whole situation felt wrong. "Ma'am," her AI assistant AI chirped, "the Caldari vessel is maintaining its approved approach vector. All parameters normal." Chen nodded absently, her fingers drumming against her desk. The Caldari Dominion had appeared seemingly out of nowhere 3 months ago, their massive fleet emerging from previously unknown regions of space. They'd claimed to be seeking peaceful relations with Earth, but Chen hadn't survived 30 years in Earth Defense Force by taking things at face value. "Show me their power readings again," she commanded. The hologram shifted, displaying complex energy signatures. "Notice anything unusual, AI?" "Their shield harmonics are fluctuating at regular intervals," the AI responded after a moment. "Consistent with weapon systems on standby." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Of course they were armed. Any sensible species would be. But why try to hide it? The Caldari had been almost suspiciously eager to establish a presence on Earth, offering advanced technology and trade agreements that seemed too good to be true. The comm system chimed. "Admiral, the Security Council is requesting your presence for the welcoming ceremony." "Understood." Chen stood, straightening her midnight blue uniform. "Araya. Continue monitoring all Caldari communications. Flag anything unusual." The Great Hall of Nations in Geneva had been specially modified for the historic meeting. Holographic displays showed the event to billions worldwide, as humanity prepared to welcome its newest galactic neighbors. Chen took her place among Earth's military leadership, watching as the Caldari delegation made their entrance. High Ambassador Vexkar led the alien delegation, his towering frame covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with each movement. The Caldari were beautiful creatures, Chen had to admit. Their crystalline-based biology gave them an almost ethereal appearance. But there was something predatory in the way Vexkar's faceted eyes scanned the room. Esteemed leaders of Earth, Vexkar's translator conveyed his words in perfect English. "We come bearing friendship and opportunity." His crystalline appendages sparkled as he gestured. "The Caldari Dominion has watched your species with great interest. Your potential is remarkable." Chen noticed how he paused before that last word, as if considering alternatives. She wasn't the only one who caught it. She saw several other military leaders exchange glances. "To demonstrate our commitment to this partnership," Vexkar continued, "we propose establishing several cultural exchange centers across your planet. These facilities will allow us to share our advanced technology and scientific knowledge." The Security Council members nodded appreciatively. But Chen's tactical training was screaming warnings. The proposed locations for these cultural centers formed a perfect strategic grid across Earth's surface. She'd seen similar patterns before, in military occupation plans. Over the next few hours, Chen watched as Earth's political leaders signed preliminary agreements with the Caldari. On paper, everything looked perfect. Technology exchanges, medical advancements, cultural cooperation. But she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was walking into a trap. Back in her office that evening, Chen reviewed the day's events with her senior staff. Colonel James Martinez, her head of intelligence, shared her concerns. "The energy signatures from their ship," Martinez reported, "they're consistent with deep space communication arrays. They're sending far more data back to their fleet than they're acknowledging. And these cultural centers they want to build," added Dr. Lisa Wong, chief of xenotechnology, "the specifications they provided. The power requirements are massive, far more than needed for research or cultural exchange." Chen pulled up a 3D map of the proposed facility locations. "They're positioning themselves to strike at our major population centers. The question is, why go through this elaborate charade? Their fleet could overwhelm our visible defenses easily." Maybe that's exactly why, Martins suggested. They want to avoid unnecessary damage to infrastructure they plan to use. Or, Chen said slowly, a thought forming, they're not as confident about their military superiority as they want us to believe. She turned to her staff. How many species have tried to conquer Earth in the last century? None successfully, Wang answered. The Zarkaks attempted an invasion 60 years ago, but were repelled. The Mirage tried 30 years before that. Both underestimated our defensive capabilities. And what happened to those species afterward? Martinez smiled grimly. They don't talk about it much. The Zarkaks especially. Their defeat here cost them several other territories, when other species realized they weren't invincible. Chen nodded. The Keldari are being cautious. They've studied our history, seen how other invasion attempts failed. They're trying to establish a presence legally, probably planning to use these cultural centers as forward operating bases. Should we warn the council? Wang asked. Not yet, Chen replied. If we're right, we need to let them think their plan is working. She activated her secure command console. Area. Initiate Protocol Hornet's Nest. Authorization. Chen, Alpha 79. Protocol Hornet's Nest activated, the AI confirmed. Beginning silent mobilization of sleeper units. Stealth systems active. Chen looked at her assembled staff, her expression deadly serious. The Keldari think they're setting up an elaborate trap. They don't realize they're walking into ours. Humanity has learned from every attempted invasion, every conflict. We've prepared for this. And if we're wrong? Martins asked. If their intentions are genuine. Chen's smile was razor-sharp. Then we'll have some very impressive defensive capabilities that we never need to use. But I don't think we're wrong. The Keldari are about to learn why Earth has a reputation as the galaxy's hornet's nest, and why it's better to leave hornets alone. As if to confirm her suspicions, Aria's voice interrupted. Admiral, I'm detecting encrypted transmissions from the Keldari vessel to multiple points in deep space. Signal pattern matches military command and control protocols. And so it begins, Chen murmured. Let them think they're the predators here. They'll learn soon enough that humanity has teeth of its own. Outside her window, Earth turned serenely below, its night side glittering with city lights. Somewhere up there, the Keldari ship continued its orbit, its occupants no doubt congratulating themselves on their clever strategy. They had no idea that beneath Earth's peaceful exterior, humanity's defenses were quietly, methodically, coming alive. The trap was set, but not the one the Keldari thought they were laying. 3 months into the Keldari Cultural Exchange Program, Admiral Chen stood in a seemingly abandoned warehouse in Nebraska, watching workers install what appeared to be agricultural equipment. To most observers, the facility looked like another of Earth's many food production centers, exactly as intended. Status report, she commanded softly. Her cybernetic implant, invisible to Keldari sensors, connected her directly to Aria. Keldari Cultural Center 7 is now operational, the AI responded in her mind. Their forces have installed what they believe to be undetected weapon systems within their facility's walls. Current count, 12 energy cannon emplacements, 3 shield generators, and a quantum communications array. Chen allowed herself a small smile. And our countermeasures. The nanite swarms have successfully infiltrated their systems. We can disable their entire facility in 2.3 seconds if needed. Additionally, the underground complex beneath them is fully operational. The warehouse was, in fact, one of hundreds of carefully prepared positions across the globe. While the Keldari built their cultural centers above ground, humanity had been quietly constructing a vast network of interconnected facilities beneath them. Every Keldari base was unknowingly sitting atop a hornet's nest of human military power. Colonel Martinez approached, his boots silent on the concrete floor. Beijing reports their facility is ready. That makes 17 complete counterpositions. Tokyo and Sydney will be online by the end of the week. And the Keldari suspects nothing. They're too busy congratulating themselves on their own deception, Martins replied with a grim chuckle. Their latest coded transmission to their fleet suggested they'll be ready for Phase 2 within 2 months. Chen nodded, reviewing the holographic overlay in her cybernetic vision. Across the globe, red dots indicated Caldari positions, while a far denser network of blue points showed humanity's hidden response. The Caldari had chosen their positions well, if this were a normal planetary conquest. But Earth had long since moved beyond conventional defense strategies. "Show me the drone swarm status," Chen commanded. The hologram shifted, revealing swarms of microscopic robots that had been seeded throughout the atmosphere. These weren't the crude military drones of previous centuries. These were based on the same technology that had defeated the Zarkak's invasion, now refined and perfected. Atmospheric saturation at 89% and climbing, HFY reported. The Caldari's crystalline biology makes them particularly vulnerable to our sonic disruptors. Dr. Wang's voice came through Chen's implant. "Admiral, you need to see this. We've decoded more of their fleet communications." In her secure underground office, Wang displayed a series of intercepted messages. "They're not just planning to take Earth," she explained. "They want to use us as an example to the rest of the galaxy. They think if they can conquer the unconquerable world, it will cement their position as the dominant species." Chen's expression hardened. "They're not the first to try that strategy. How many ships in their main fleet?" 317 capital ships, plus support vessels. They're hiding behind the Kuiper Belt, thinking our sensors can't reach that far. Little do they know, Martins added, we mapped their entire fleet the moment they entered the solar system. Quantum entanglement detection has its advantages. Chen pulled up the latest intelligence reports. The Caldari were following a predictable pattern. Establish a foothold under peaceful pretenses, position their forces carefully, then strike hard and fast before the target could effectively respond. It had probably worked dozens of times on other worlds. But Earth was different. Centuries of fending off alien incursions had taught humanity valuable lessons. They'd learned to hide their true capabilities, to let potential adversaries underestimate them. The visible Earth Defense Force was just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it lay layers of hidden defenses, autonomous systems, and technologies that no alien species had yet discovered. "Admiral," HFY interrupted, "Caldari Cultural Center 3 is attempting to activate their deep scan sensors. They may detect the facility beneath them." "Let them scan," Chen replied calmly. "Activate the quantum camouflage. Show them exactly what they expect to see." The Caldari would detect only what humanity wanted them to detect. Ordinary bedrock, standard infrastructure, nothing to suggest the massive military installation lying just meters below their feet. The same technology that had hidden Earth's true capabilities for centuries was still working perfectly. "Message from the Security Council," Martins reported. "The Caldari have requested permission to establish 5 more cultural centers. Locations are consistent with military staging areas." Chen studied the proposed positions. "Approve them. Let them think they're tightening the noose." She turned to her staff. "Status of Project Stinger." Dr. Wang pulled up another hologram, showing a microscopic device, ready for deployment. Once activated, these nanites will disrupt their crystalline structure at the molecular level. Non-lethal, but highly effective at incapacitation. We can deploy them through their own air filtration systems. Perfect. Chen's smile was predatory. Humanity didn't survive this long by being easy prey. We survived by being smarter, more adaptable, and far more dangerous than anyone expected. As if to emphasize her point, a subtle vibration ran through the facility. Another Caldari ship landing nearby, its crew unaware they were landing exactly where humanity wanted them. "They think they're hunting us," Chen mused, watching the ship descend. "They don't realize they're already surrounded. Every step they take to strengthen their position only makes our counter-strike more effective." The trap was nearly ready. Soon, the Caldari would launch their attack. expecting to find a relatively defenseless Earth. Instead, they would discover why even the galaxy's most powerful species thought twice about challenging humanity directly. "We're not just defending Earth," Chen reminded her staff. "We're sending a message to the entire galaxy. The Hornet's nest is still active, and its sting is sharper than ever." Above them, the Caldari continued their preparations, their confidence growing with each passing day. They had no idea they were playing exactly into humanity's hands. The attack began at dawn. Across the globe, Caldari cultural centers simultaneously dropped their facades. Crystalline structures burst from their housings, weapons arrays emerging from hidden compartments as shield generators hummed to life. In orbit, the massive Caldari fleet emerged from their hiding places beyond Pluto, their ships advancing in perfect formation toward Earth. Admiral Chen watched it all unfold from Lunar Command, her expression unchanged. If anything, she looked almost bored. "They're broadcasting their demands," Araya reported. "Standard conquest protocol. Immediate surrender, minimal casualties if we comply, threats of orbital bombardment if we resist." "How thoughtful of them," Chen replied dryly. "Status of all Hornets' nests. All systems green. Countermeasures primed and ready, waiting for your command." Chen opened a channel to all Earth defense commands. "This is Admiral Chen. Operation Stinger is now active. Execute according to protocol." Across the planet, humanity's true defenses began to wake. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Caldari tried to activate their ground-based weapon systems. Nothing responded. Their crystalline technology, supposedly unhackable, had been compromised months ago by human nanites that had been quietly reproducing within their systems. High Commander Vexkar, now showing his true military rank, found himself staring at dead controls in what was supposed to be his primary command center. "What is happening?" he demanded, his crystalline form flickering with agitation. "Where are our weapon systems?" As if in answer, the floor beneath him trembled. Across the globe, the Earth around each Caldari facility began to split open, revealing massive mechanical structures rising from hidden underground bases. What the Caldari had thought were simple cultural centers were now surrounded by rings of advanced human weaponry. In orbit, the Caldari fleet's advance suddenly halted. Their sensors, previously showing only a handful of defensive satellites and a small planetary defense force, were now going haywire. Thousands of previously invisible platforms were decloaking, their quantum camouflage dissolving to reveal Earth's true orbital defense grid. "Admiral," Araya announced, "the Caldari fleet has stopped their advance. Their communication shows significant confusion and concern." Chen nodded. "Deploy the swarms." In the upper atmosphere, trillions of microscopic drones activated. These weren't simple machines. They were a hybrid of Earth's most advanced AI and bioengineering, capable of adapting and evolving in real time. The swarms descended on the Caldari ground facilities like metallic rain. Inside the Caldari bases, chaos erupted. Their crystalline technology began to malfunction as the nanites interfered with their molecular structure. Communications failed. Weapons systems went dark. Shield generators flickered and died. "This is impossible," Vexkar raged, watching his forces crumble. "Their technology was primitive. We monitored them for years." "No," Chen's voice came through on their own command frequencies. "You saw what we wanted you to see. Humanity learned long ago that the best defense isn't showing your strength. It's making others underestimate you." In orbit, the Caldari fleet found themselves in an equally precarious position. Earth's primitive defense platforms were now revealing their true nature, quantum-linked weapon systems that could target and fire as a single unified network. The first volley of shots demonstrated their effectiveness, precisely targeting engine systems and weapons arrays without destroying the ships themselves. "Fascinating, isn't it?" Chen's voice continued, now broadcasting to the entire Caldari command structure. "You thought you were setting up forward bases. In reality, You were building your own prisons. Each of your cultural centers is now completely isolated and contained. Your fleet is surrounded. And you're about to learn why Earth has survived every attempted invasion for the past 3 centuries. The nanite swarms had reached their final density levels. At Chen's command, they activated their sonic resonance features. The effect on the Caldari was immediate. Their crystalline bodies became sluggish, their neural pathways disrupted by precisely calibrated frequencies. "We could destroy your forces entirely," Chen informed them. "But that's not our way. Instead, you're going to witness exactly what you've walked into, and then you're going to leave. And you're going to tell everyone else in the galaxy exactly what happened here." To demonstrate her point, she ordered the activation of a single defense platform. A beam of concentrated energy lanced out, slicing one of the Caldari's largest warships precisely in half. A demonstration of surgical precision rather than brute force. "Your species isn't the first to think Earth was an easy target," Chen continued. "The Zarkax thought their biological weapons would work. The Marosh believed their psychic abilities would give them control. All of them learned the same lesson you're learning now. Earth doesn't survive by being the strongest. We survive by being the most prepared." Below, the underground facilities had fully emerged, revealing massive structures that dwarfed the Caldari bases. These weren't simple defense platforms. They were fully autonomous combat systems, each capable of launching its own swarms of drones and deploying an array of weapons that the Caldari had never seen before. "Here's what's going to happen," Chen announced. "You're going to order your fleet to withdraw. Your ground forces will be escorted to neutral territory for departure. And you're going to remember that Earth earned its reputation as a hornet's nest for a very good reason." In his trapped command center, Vexker looked at his disabled forces, his sophisticated fleet now helpless in orbit, and the overwhelming display of human military power that had appeared seemingly from nowhere. For the first time in his military career, he felt true fear. "Perhaps," he said carefully, "we should discuss terms of withdrawal." Chen's smile was audible in her voice. "I thought you might say that. Welcome to Earth, Commander. Sorry your invasion didn't work out as planned." Around the globe, humanity's hidden defenses stood revealed, a testament to centuries of preparation and innovation. The Hornets had been stirred, and their sting had proved as deadly as ever. The galaxy would soon have a new story to tell about Earth, not just as the planet no one could conquer, but as the world that had elevated deception and preparation to an art form. The Hornet's nest had claimed another victim, and its reputation would only grow stronger. The next 48 hours became known throughout the galaxy as the Earth demonstration, not because of massive destruction or casualties, but because humanity chose to turn their victory into a masterclass in military innovation. Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of the Lunar Command Center, watching Earth's drone swarms dance across the night sky in patterns visible from space. Each swarm consisted of billions of units, their movements synchronized by quantum computing systems that made them appear almost organic. "The Galactic Council has opened an emergency session," Martins reported, joining her at the window. "Apparently, several species are demanding to know how we hid all this from them." Chen's reflection smiled in the reinforced glass. "They're asking the wrong question. The real question is, what else are we hiding?" The answer, of course, was quite a lot. "Status of the Caldari fleet?" she asked, though ARIA had already fed the information directly to her neural interface. "Still contained within our defense grid. Their attempts to transmit distress signals have been educational. We've identified 17 new communication protocols they thought were unbreakable." Chen nodded. "Begin Phase 4. Let's show them why you don't disturb a hornet's nest." Across Earth's orbit, the quantum defense platforms began to move. Not in the standard military formations the Caldari might have expected, but in fluid, unpredictable patterns that seemed to defy conventional space combat doctrine. The platforms weren't just coordinating. They were learning, adapting, evolving their tactics in real time. "Admiral," ARIA interrupted, The Caldari are attempting to power up their main weapons arrays. Perfect. Activate the resonance fields. The trapped Caldari ships suddenly found themselves enveloped in fields of quantum energy that turned their own power systems against them. The more they tried to power up their weapons, the more energy fed back into Earth's defense grid. A fascinating property of crystalline technology. Dr. Wang's voice came through the command channel. It's remarkably efficient at energy transfer. Unfortunately for them, it works both ways. In his flagship, now effectively powerless, High Commander Vexkar watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as Earth's true military capability revealed itself. The human drones weren't just disabling their systems, they were systematically analyzing and counteracting every attempted countermeasure. Impossible, his science officer whispered, watching their most advanced encryption systems fall to the swarm's adaptive algorithms. They're learning. Every defense we create, they evolve past it within minutes. Chen's voice echoed through their command center again. Did you really think Earth survived this long by staying static? Evolution isn't just biological. Our defense systems evolve faster than most species can attack. To demonstrate her point, she ordered a small section of the drone swarm to engage one of the Caldari's supposedly impenetrable shield systems. The drones didn't try to overwhelm it with force. Instead, they began rapidly cycling through different attack patterns, each generation learning from the previous one's failures. Within minutes, they had developed a completely new approach that bypassed the shields entirely. Fascinating species, the Hornets. Chen continued, her voice carrying a hint of academic interest. They're not the strongest insects or the largest, but they survive because they work together, adapt quickly, and make sure any threat learns to think twice about attacking their nest. Humanity took that lesson to heart centuries ago. The demonstration continued. Earth's defense platforms began showcasing weapons that the Caldari had never seen before. Gravity lenses that could bend space itself, quantum torpedoes that existed in multiple states until impact, and swarms of nanites that could disassemble and reassemble matter at the molecular level. We're receiving transmissions from 15 different galactic species, Martins reported, trying to hide his amusement. They're requesting immediate diplomatic contact. Several are offering technology exchanges. How generous of them, Chen replied dryly. Now that they've seen what we can do, everyone wants to be friends. The Caldari fleet, once proud and confident, now hung motionless in space, completely at Earth's mercy. Their cultural centers on the ground had been systematically isolated and contained, their advanced technology rendered useless by human countermeasures they hadn't even known existed. Your attention, please. Chen broadcast to the trapped fleet. You're about to witness one more demonstration. Pay close attention. This is something we developed specifically for crystalline-based technology. At her command, a new type of drone emerged from Earth's atmosphere. These were larger, about the size of small cars, and they moved with an unsettling organic fluidity. As they approached the Caldari ships, they began emitting a complex series of quantum pulses. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The crystalline hulls of the Caldari vessels began to resonate, creating patterns of light that rippled across their surfaces. It wasn't damaging them, but it was proving beyond any doubt that Earth could affect their technology at its most fundamental level. A quantum harmonic resonator, Chen explained to her captive audience, designed specifically for crystalline structures. With a slight adjustment, we could shatter every ship in your fleet. Instead, we're using it to send you a message. Earth is not, and never has been, defenseless. We're not even showing you everything we can do. In the command center, Dr. Wang's monitors were lighting up with data. The Caldari ships are powering down completely. They're signaling their surrender. Chen allowed herself a small nod of satisfaction. Prepare to receive their command staff, and make sure our guests have a clear view of the drone swarms. I want them to remember exactly what they're seeing today. As escape pods began launching from the Caldari fleet, carrying their senior officers to face Earth's terms, Chen turned to Martinez. Make sure all of this is being properly documented. The galaxy needs to understand exactly what happens when someone disturbs the hornet's nest. The demonstration had served its purpose. Earth had shown enough of its capabilities to establish its position without revealing all of its secrets. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity was far more advanced and dangerous than anyone had suspected, and they still hadn't shown their full hand. The Hornets had not just defended their nest, they had turned the attack into an opportunity to reshape their position in the galactic community. And somewhere in deep space, other species were already rethinking their assessments of Earth and its capabilities. The question was no longer whether Earth could defend itself. The question was, what else were they hiding? 2 weeks after the Earth demonstration, Admiral Chen found herself in an unexpected position. Galactic diplomat. The Lunar Conference Center, hastily converted to host representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations, hummed with nervous energy as species that had previously dismissed Earth now vied for its attention. The Mirage delegation is requesting another technology exchange meeting, Martins reported, his dress uniform crisp as he consulted his neural interface. They're particularly interested in our quantum camouflage systems. Interesting, Chen replied, watching the assembled aliens through the one-way observation window. Considering they once claimed we were too primitive to be worth their time. She paused, noting the Mirage ambassador's anxious movements. Tell them we'll consider their proposal after they acknowledge their attempted invasion from 80 years ago. The aftermath of the Keldari incident had transformed Earth's position in galactic politics. The carefully maintained facade of a moderately advanced civilization had been shattered, replaced by the reality of a technological powerhouse that had deliberately hidden its capabilities for centuries. Admiral. Araya's voice came through Chen's neural link. The Galactic Council's emergency session has concluded. They've approved Earth's petition for a permanent seat. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Unanimous. With 3 abstentions, the Zarkax, predictably, and 2 of their client species. The Keldari delegation is ready, Dr. Wang announced, entering the observation room. She traded her lab coat for formal diplomatic attire, but her eyes still sparkled with scientific curiosity. They've agreed to all our terms. The terms were surprisingly generous, considering the circumstances. Earth hadn't demanded reparations or territory. Instead, they'd asked for something far more valuable. Information. The Keldari would share their complete database of galactic intelligence, including details about species and territories unknown to Earth. Knowledge truly is power, Chen mused as they walked to the main conference chamber, especially when you've proven you know how to use it. The conference chamber fell silent as they entered. The Keldari delegation, led by a humbled Vexcar, stood as Chen approached the central podium. His crystalline form, once proud and imperious, now shifted with subtle patterns of submission. High Commander, Chen began, her voice carrying easily through the vast room. Are you prepared to formalize our agreement? We are, Vexcar replied, his translator conveying a tone of careful respect. The Keldari Dominion acknowledges Earth's sovereignty and its significant defensive capabilities. He paused, his crystalline structure flickering with what might have been embarrassment. We also acknowledge our error in judgment regarding humanity's technological status. Chen nodded graciously. Your honesty is appreciated. Let this mark the beginning of a more productive relationship between our species. As the formal agreements were exchanged, Chen noticed the other alien delegates watching intently. Every species in the room had underestimated Earth at some point. Now they were all reassessing their positions, trying to curry favor with a civilization that had proven far more formidable than anyone had suspected. A question, if I may, one of the Miraxian delegates called out, their tentacles writhing with curiosity. How did Earth maintain such secrecy for so long? Our deep space scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show, Chen interrupted smoothly. Just as the Keldari saw what they expected to see. The best defense isn't always showing your strength. Sometimes it's letting others underestimate you. The chamber buzzed with uncomfortable murmurs. How many other civilizations, they wondered, might be hiding similar capabilities? Earth extends its hand in friendship to all peaceful species. Chen continued, her voice carrying authority earned through victory. We have no interest in conquest or domination, but we will maintain our defenses, visible and hidden, to ensure peace. As if to emphasize her point, a swarm of demonstration drones passed by the chamber's massive windows, their formations creating complex patterns against the lunar sky. Several delegates shifted nervously in their seats. The galaxy is entering a new era, Chen declared, one where assumptions about technological superiority need to be reconsidered. Earth hopes to be a positive force in this new paradigm. Later, in her private office, Chen reviewed the day's diplomatic achievements with her staff. The Galactic Council seat was just the beginning. Trade agreements, technology exchanges, and defense pacts were being proposed by species that had previously ignored Earth entirely. They're calling it the Hornet's Nest Doctrine, Martins reported with a grin. The idea that seemingly minor civilizations might be hiding significant capabilities. Several major powers are reassessing their expansion policies. Good, Chen nodded. Fear of the unknown is a powerful deterrent, especially when that unknown has proven it can sting. Dr. Wang pulled up a holographic display showing the latest sensor data. The quantum defense grid is fully operational. The drone swarms are evolving faster than ever, and our new Caldari data is already improving our understanding of crystalline technology. And the next time someone thinks about disturbing the nest, Martins asked. Chen's smile was both warm and warning. They'll remember this demonstration. Earth didn't survive this long by being weak. We survived by being smart, adaptable, and willing to wait for the right moment to show our strength. Outside her window, Earth hung like a jewel against the black of space. But now the galaxy saw it differently, not as a primitive world to be conquered, but as a hornet's nest best left undisturbed. Unless, of course, you came in peace. Send a message to all Earth Defense Commands, Chen instructed ARIA. Tell them to maintain current alert status. Just because we've shown some of our capabilities doesn't mean we show them all. After all, she thought, watching another drone swarm dance across the lunar sky, the best deterrent isn't just the sting they know about. It's wondering what else the Hornets might be hiding. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth wasn't just another world to be conquered. It was a force to be reckoned with, a civilization that had turned patience and preparation into an art form. And if anyone else was thinking about disturbing the hornet's nest, well, the Caldari would be happy to explain why that was a very bad idea.